Alright, today I'm going to check on each of my hives going from west to east. This is of course my westernmost hive here, so I'm going to check on it. I brought them a little bit of sugar water, so they're probably out of water in here. I haven't looked at them in 2 weeks. It's kind of long, and I can tell that their bees are a little aggressive, and so I thought I might need to bring my veil, so I did. And they're buzzing me, trying to find a place to sting, so, and I haven't even opened the hive yet, so that's probably good that I brought the veil. Yeah, it's definitely good I brought the veil. They're hitting me. I don't know if you can see. But as long as that's not caused by anything like them being queenless, as long as they're queen right and they're doing good, I'm actually liking this behavior. Because you know, they're up here in the canyon. I can't check on them all the time, and so they kind of need to fend for themselves. And I'm okay with angry bees, because I do have a veil. I'm not afraid to wear it. Many people think that I am kind of crazy in the fact that I don't wear the bee veil or smoke my bees. And the fact is, I don't do what I don't need to do. If I need to wear a veil, I will. Alright, you can see what they're doing to this towel. If I wasn't covered up, I'd get the piss stung out of me right now. Let's look at this. Okay, they got nothing on there. Looks like I got a little bit of a cross comb going on. Something I need to fix. And you know what? These frames with the half foundation that I was trying out, that don't work. They build comb off to the sides of it, and it just messes things up. So I think I might go and rip all these out of here, cut them the other way, and use them for starter strips. Yeah. Ouch. My hands aren't covered up, so I am getting stung there, but I don't mind getting stung on my hands so much. As long as they're not getting at my ears. That's definitely the most painful place to get stung, is on your ears. At least in my opinion. That and the end of your nose. Alright, I'll do that off camera. It kind of takes a little while, so I'll just pull frames out for now so I can get in there. The main thing I'm trying to do today is give them a little bit more sugar and make sure they're queen right. Remember, the other hive I had was very aggressive, and I think it was because they weren't queen right. The queen wasn't laying very well, and some of the workers had started laying themselves. And then that happens, they get really aggressive very suddenly, even though I was visiting them a whole lot. This hive, the aggression I think is just because I haven't been visiting them very often. Alright, that's not bad. I'll just let them build onto this just like it was a top bar hive. In that case, I need to straighten this one out. You can see how it's a little cross combed here. But well, it's early like this, that's fairly easy to fix. All I gotta do is take it and push it over into the straight position. Oh, it doesn't have wires, I forgot about that. But yeah, just make it straight. Get it in here, pull it down straight, yeah. That's really all you need to do, just tap it into position. Alright, they're actually starting to make more honey than they're consuming. That's good. What do we have here? Let's see if we can get into where the queen is. Alright, there's some bees here. I'm kind of worried those might be drones. Oh yeah, that's all drones there. That does kind of worry me with them aggressive like this, and if they don't got a good queen, then I definitely need to requeen them. brood pattern looks solid enough. Alright, they got a queen. They're fine. We're good. Looks like their aggression is just caused from me not visiting them very often. Alright, since I know that there's a queen, there's really no reason for me to do any more than opening them up. I'm not afraid of them making any queen sales or anything, so I don't have to look through the whole hive. I'm just gonna push that together, put this back into place. I'm gonna go through and remove those. I'm gonna fill their feeder. Alright, continuing east. The next hive is this one here that I made from the artificial swarm that I took out of the hive at the community garden. See the bees going in and out. I've reduced the entrance with these rocks, and you can see I put the nuke, I transferred the frames into this big box here. Didn't really do much with them, I just put them in there along with some other frames with foundations on them. And I've been feeding them. By my calculations, they ought to have some new bees hatching out. Just barely. And I'll show you how much comb that a fresh swarm of bees produces. They produce a lot of comb right at first. You can see here, they've pretty much filled this whole box within a couple of weeks. The number of bees in here has greatly declined, unfortunately, but that's expected because the life cycle of the bees isn't very long. And hopefully they have some new bees hatching out to replace those. And this hive is much less aggressive than the one up on the hill. You can see I'm just wearing a t-shirt again. Alright, so I'm going to give them some food, but before that I'm going to pull out one of these frames and see how much is on here. See if we can see some baby bees hatching out. Yeah, they're storing a little bit of honey. And see, I got this frame, I just put this wax in here, I just hung it, and that works much better because the gravity pulls it down straight. Let's set this out so I can work in here. This one I didn't have any foundation on it at all, but it looks alright. Starting to cap a little bit of honey up at the top. Some more comb. I mean, they didn't have anything when I started. They just had that one frame there that I put in. Alrighty. Alright, there's some brood. The pattern's not as solid as I'd be liking. Let's look at this frame here. Yeah, they've definitely had a few of them hatch out. It's good. You can see here there's one of them chewing its way out of the cell. I guess you can't see much on the camera. It's unfortunate. Yeah, they ought to be replacing their population here pretty quick. I'm thinking of combining this with another hive just to build up their numbers a little faster, because I did start these rather late. If I do that, I might even be able to get some honey out of these this year. Oh yeah, look at that. Very nice. Not very many bees though. Alright, this last one here. me put them back together. I'll get them some sugar. And I'm not going to combine them with that other hive today. I'm actually going to go look at it here in a little bit and see if I actually want to do that or not. Alright, so you can see how well these are doing. I'm going to put some food in here and head off to the next hive. Okay, got my veil back on, sort of. So you remember this hive, I came in and I took the queen cage out a little while ago, and it looked to me like the queen was actually laying. Let's go ahead and open this up and see how they're doing. Yeah, they're definitely a lot calmer. I probably don't even need the veil. Let's look in here and find where the brood is. Look at that ant trying to carry a bee away. Let me get that. Yeah, the ants are still a problem, it seems. But they're not as bad. Let's see. Alright, there's some eggs. Some little larvas. That's good. The new queen's definitely laying, and you know what? I don't need this veil. It's too hot anyway. Okay. The population's dropped a little bit, but it's not a very good brood pattern, I'm afraid. Let's see how it looks further in. I may want to replace the queen in here again. That doesn't look very good. Might get off the bottom of the hive. Alrighty. There's plenty of eggs in here. Maybe she just hasn't got into it yet. We'll come back and look in a week or so, and if it hasn't improved by then, I'm going to go ahead and replace her. I do have a couple more queens. Yeah, I definitely see eggs. Yeah, they're probably alright. Here we are. Yeah, she just hasn't gotten into laying a whole lot yet. This is a little better. Still kind of spotty, but that might be because they've got pollen and stuff in there. Hush. Alright. Let's see how it goes. I may be replacing her. But at least they've got a queen. At least we're not losing bees. Alright, let's go ahead and get these some food and move on. Going further east, the next hive, if you can call this a hive, is right here. See, this is the mini mating nukes that I made up. And it looks like most of the bees in here have died off, but there's still enough bees in here to take care of the queen. You can see there's a queen right there. I mean, as long as there's enough in here to feed her, they're fine. It's been warm enough that they don't really need to keep her warm. There's not enough to raise baby bees, so they're kind of just stuck like this. You can see several dried out eggs in the bottom of each cell that the queen's been trying to lay, but they haven't been taking care of the eggs. Yeah, I have 2 queens in here. I'm going to bring them some more bees, and I'll probably switch out the queens at some point in the next week, before they all die off, that is. I want to have queens as backup, though. You can see some of the bees have went into the other chambers for some reason. They don't actually have a queen in there, but they've done that. Probably because of the proximity, and they just went in the wrong hole. Alright, well, that's this. Let's put this back together. Actually, before I go, I probably should mention that this is, in fact, the mating nuke that I had over at the community garden. I just brought it back out here because they told me they wanted it moved. And I didn't actually film that because it just consisted of me picking it up and moving it. But anyway, alright, next on my trek is the other mini nuke. I have here with the queen that I took out of that sorry, I actually just ran here, so I'm going to go ahead and open these up and catch my breath. You can see bees going into there. Alright, here we are. Let's see if you can see this over in the sunlight. There's some baby bees coming along, actually. So that queen actually doesn't appear to be bad. I'd say she's good. Except for one thing. Look how patchy this brood pattern is. This should be solid. And the rest of down in here has got eggs in it, but there should be more here. You can see over here, well, this other half of this, you can see the same thing. So I think what happened is those bees saw that she was doing this and decided they wanted to replace her. So I did. Hopefully the replacement's better. I'm thinking it might not be. Yeah, this is basically a little hive of bees coming along here. And the queen is good enough that she's keeping the population up. Alright, let me put them back together. Alright, here's the last nuke. Feels like the lid's kind of stuck down. Alright. They had a little bit of wax built onto it. But that's alright. Yeah, they are actually coming on a little bit now. Probably because I started feeding them, so I have a little feeder in here. Yeah, maybe not. They got bees hatching out, but they're still kind of expanding slowly. That's why I was going to combine this with that other hive, so you have one strong hive instead of two kind of weak ones. That's not a bad brood pattern though, look at that. Got bees hatching out even. You know, it might work. Get these into a larger space. I might make another hive out of this if I keep feeding them. Okay, here's my top bar hive. See, they haven't been putting honey back here yet. Let me set that down. So these back frames are still empty. Let's see how far over I need to go before I start seeing some honey storage. Look at that ant. Problem over here too, I guess. Put my veil back on. See? This hive is a little strong and I don't feel like getting stung a whole lot today. Alright, I think here's the honey. Yeah, there's some honey. Okay. It tells me they're starting to store honey clear back to here. They probably almost got enough honey stored up already to survive the next winter. Basically anything they put past this point is mine. Alright, I don't really feel like going through this whole hive, so I think I'm going to pull off this frame here. I should be able to get away with this. Alright, it's a little heavy. See, they've got mostly honey in here. And pollen, but this is a thin frame that they got at the front of the hive, so I was able to take it out. Let me set this over here for now. See, now I can just get right into the brood chamber and see how that new queen was doing. Ah, look, there's some baby bees already. Good, good. That's a pretty good brood pattern actually, considering it's at the very front of the hive. Alright. It's only spotty because there's pollen here. But that queen has definitely gotten to work. And I can see there's not a whole lot yet, but there's some grayish black bees here. They're not very old, but I don't know if you can tell the difference, but it's definitely different than the golden colored bees I've had before. So the color of the bees is changing. It'll probably only be another week before they're completely different. There's a queen cup in there. Doesn't look like it's got anything though. This is some drones where I put the queen in here. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Oh gosh, the gnats are coming out. Okay, that's pretty solid. It's been hatching out. You can see the bees are a lot darker here. They're not old enough to start flying yet, but that new queen's definitely keeping the population up now. Yeah, these are in the process of hatching out. Alright, and this is one of the foundations that I put in there. I don't know if you can see at the top here is where I pressed the wax in. It's very nice. Oh gosh. You know, I didn't need the veil, but the gnats, little flying insects we got, can go right through it. So it didn't really do any good for me. Alright, put them back together. I'm not going to feed them or anything because they're starting to store honey that I want. I am now at the Grantsville hive. See here? I've been looking at these bees and they've looked pretty active. I think they're doing pretty good. Let's take a look inside. I got some sugar for them. Took the rock off. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks pretty full. Let's take this feeder out, actually. Yes. Yeah. I guess I expected that. Alright. We got quite a bit of honey. There's some brood. Some drones. Looks okay though. Yeah, that is actually quite a few drones. I don't know if you can see in here. But nothing to worry about yet. It's mostly worker brood. They're definitely coming along. I ought to look into the bottom box and see what's down there. Yeah, that's just about solid workers. You know, I think this one was empty when I put it in there. It's good. Good. Okay, into the bottom box. Let's see what we got. There's some foundations I put in. Okay. Yeah, looks like they're building onto it. Good. Alright, I'm at the community garden hive. I bought me another super. And look at this activity. These bees are doing good. Let's pop the lid off and take a look. See, my sticks have tipped over a little bit. Okay, let's see what we got in the way of honey. I can definitely see the fat combs up here. And it looks like most of it's capped. Ooh, want to mess it up. Alright, just pry out one of these that don't have very much on it. Okay. Alright, this has... they've drawn it out, but there's no honey. So that's fine. What do we got here? Oh, look at that. Yeah, these bees are going to kick butt this year. Look at that, it's all capped. That's at least 4 pounds of honey right there. See how thick it is? It's actually hard to hold. Let's see how many of those I got. This one's not as thick, but it's all capped. Yeah, this is... okay, there's not as much on that side, but yeah, that's about what I'd normally see. Yeah, this one is definitely thick. It's probably because I put in the non-drawn out frames on either side of it. So when I harvest it, what I'm going to do is cut this down so it's even with the frame. And then when I put it in, they won't build it up quite as thick. But that is very heavy. Very nice. Alright, I'm actually thinking I probably ought not disturb them too much since they're bringing in honey right now. Alright, so I got that super off, and looking at this outermost frame, looks like it is about half full of honey. But they don't put in the outermost frame very much, so that's fine. It looks like they've got this real full of honey. Hopefully they got enough room for brood though. Yeah, it feels about right. There's a lot of nectar in there, but this was a drone frame, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm just kind of checking to make sure they're not honey bound or anything. I doubt that they are. Okay. Oh yeah. Let's look at this. There's a little bit of brood and there's eggs. Good. I'm trying to see if I can see a frame of brood and get an idea how good the queen is. That's all right. There's some queen cells here, but oh, yeah. Try not to drop the camera. Okay, that's about what I was looking for. It's not the best in the world, but I think it'll do. Let's pack them back in. I don't want to disturb them too bad. I'd like to look down in the bottom box to see if they drew out that frame that I put in there, but I'm pretty sure they have. I'm not going to worry too much about it. And see that they're queen right there. Alright, let's put this frame back in. Go ahead and put the other super on. Alright, I went ahead and put the other super on. Just kind of straighten them out. You see, what I've done is got these old frames, which are drawn out, interspaced between these new frames, just like I did on the first super. And that'll make the bees want to build in here faster. Of course, it will make them build thicker combs, but that's alright. I can easily cut that off with the heat knife, and I can definitely get quite a bit of honey. Alright, they're all spaced a little bit. Alright, that's about all I'm doing. Just put the lid on. Alright, there we go. Pretty tall hive now. That's as tall as I'm going to make it. As soon as I fill that box up there, I'm going to go ahead and harvest it and then bring them back. I'm kind of worried about vandalism. See, now that the hive's taller, they might be able to see it better. They'd be more tempted to come over here and tip it over. So I think next time I come out, I was just thinking about this. I was thinking maybe I could get one of those straps and drive me a nail in here. Good hard nail. And put a tie down strap across the top of this. And then lock the buckle so they can't undo it. I'd at least staple it down to the stump. Maybe I could get some spikes and drive the stump in too. But I haven't really had any trouble with them this year, so that should be okay. I mean, I can't imagine anyone wanting to mess with a beehive, but they do. Alright, yeah. Trying to get a look in here. See, I took the plastic thing out, so I gotta kind of look in at it, see how many mites there are by. And this hive hasn't had too many mites. And I haven't seen any by uncapping drone broods, so I think they're good. I'm not sure about the new queen, of course, but well, let's see how they do in future episodes. I got one more hive to go to. Okay, finally made it to my easternmost hive. See, here is the hive at Westminster. Apparently they're killing the grass to plant trees here. They want to like put a little raspberry orchard or something in. But the bees could care less. Couldn't care less, I should say. What's this? Looks like a knot come out. Probably ought to glue that in, huh? Oh. Oh well. That's really not that big of a deal. Alright, let's look at the front here. Oh yeah, they're bearding. This is what they do when it gets a little hot. It's not really that big of a deal. See here, I can put my hand in them. They're fine. Might make it a little difficult to open the lid though, so better push them down a little bit. Come on, girls. You just get most of them off of there. Okay. I'll go ahead and open them up. The reason I wanted to do this hive last is because it's getting a little cooler now. You really don't want to open a top bar hive in the middle part of the hot day. This hive I didn't do a tin roof on it, so it absorbs a little bit more sun than the other hive does. I'm never going to do this again, but I thought it was good for the on campus, match the buildings a little better. It's really not too bad. I mean, bees can handle a little bit of heat, especially since they got a creek running down there. Alright, so I'm going to open them up. Alright, here it is. I took out a couple of the empty frames, so I have room to work. Looks like they haven't been doing a whole lot back in this part of the hive. That's alright. See, they built a little on there. And there's some honey storage. In fact, that one's almost full of honey. Good, good. Yeah, these are some nice bees. If I had to work on these with a veil on, I would probably replace the queen right away, because I want these bees to be as gentle as possible. And they've got honey back in here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you can see a little bit of capped honey up at the top there. But this is pretty good. I could harvest some honey this year. Oh yeah, look at that. Alright, so that's like 3 full ones. Yeah, I'd say they've got enough to survive the winter now. That's a milestone I've been waiting for. I'm not going to have to feed them this year. Great. What I especially like to see is they're backfilling those drone cells, making those full. Alright, looks like a lot of these are just honey. I'll go ahead and cut the video a little bit and get into the brood, see if that new queen was laying. Alright, they have got 7 frames, almost full of honey. So that's, I'm going to just say about 30 pounds. So they're not quite ready to survive the winter yet, but that's a whole lot better than they were last year. They're definitely on track to be able to harvest this year. And see here is the first frame, which has got brood in it. Yeah, see the little patch of capped brood in the center there? Can't really see, I guess. Let me keep going. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. That's a good queen in there. I don't think any of the bees are hatching out yet. I'd be curious to see what color they are. Because they came from that hive from the community garden, so she should be laying black bees, but I'm not sure what they've mated with. So, alright, this one was drones. Looks like they're backfilling it with nectar. Alright. Just put that back. I like to keep a frame that I can take out in the front. I think the only thing I got left I wanted to do is look at one of these that I had put in there as foundation. See if I can pull it out without ruining it. Yeah, this is one that I put in as foundation. Looks like the bottom of it's got a lot of eggs. A little bit of brood on this side, but they're actually filling it with mostly honey. Nothing wrong with that, I guess. I really shouldn't have took it out like that. Oh well. It's not like I killed any bees doing it. Alright, put these back together. And that's what I wanted to get done today. Just update you on all the hives. Stand over in the shade. I think I forgot to mention it's June 5th. I'm not wearing my watch, but it's the 5th of June. I wanted to do this like an end of May updates. And I'm thinking of doing this once a month at least throughout the rest of the summer. And that'll be the majority of the videos I make, actually. I'm gonna try to cut down on the videos. I've gotten really far behind on uploading them now that I don't have access to very good internet. But I'll get them eventually. I may be rushed and not edited very well, but they're there. I guess the funny thing is I'm going to be uploading this after I upload most of those, so yeah. Anyway, I'll put these back together and call that the end.